Hello and welcome back to Wireman's Whimsy. I'm going to be working with the Bauble Blooms set this week. It's got lots of versatility and I've just started playing with it. I've had it on my shelf for quite some time and haven't used it, but thought I'd get started with it this week. What we've got is we've got the large die that cuts out the bauble shape, and then the detailed die that cuts out the individual pieces in the middle. And you can see this here. What I recommend is if you want to have these as leaves, just stamp this piece and then do your die cutting, because if you stamp again with this piece, you get the little flowers in your die cut that you may not want. So if you want to do this in like a garden green or a granny apple green or old olive, I would stamp this and then use the detail die to cut these out so you can use them as leaves to decorate your bauble. So this die cuts into 4 pieces. You got your 2 flowers, and you've got your kind of greenery pieces. But I'm almost thinking you might have to do a bit of a stretch, but you could almost cut these apart and trim them down and kind of make them birds. I'm not sure about that. I'd have to have a little bit of a think about that. But this is what like a completed stamped bauble looks like, with the filial at the top. You can stamp this way and then you can do a detailed and leave it as a detailed. You can stamp the background and leave it as a background, or you can stamp both and then die cut it out. There's also the stamp for a smaller filial top, and we've got the bow with the die to cut the bow out, and then a string or a ribbon to hang it from. And we've got wishing you a and glad tidings. So these are 2 separate stamps. So you could say wishing you a Merry Christmas and glad tidings. And then this joyous wishes to you and yours is 1 stamp, but you could also mask the to you and yours out. So you just have the joyous wishes. And the Merry, Happy, and Christmas are 3 separate stamps. So you can say Merry Christmas, you can say Happy Christmas, so that's kind of the stamps and dies. And I've done up a couple of card samples because I wanted to play with it before I started getting into card making videos. And this one I've done Blackberry Bliss as the background. This is the beautiful Bokeh Designer Series paper. This is a piece of Blackberry Bliss, and I've embossed it with the glass embossing folder. And to do the bauble, all I did is I used washi tape to mask some areas off, and then I used blending brush with Bubble Bath and Blackberry Bliss and blended it on, and then stamped in Blackberry Bliss to get some detail. And then this one, I used the Traditions of Christmas Designer Series paper, and this is actually the reverse side. So I've got an old olive card base, this beautiful checkered background, and I use my old olive blending brush to kind of smudge the middle just to make this piece pop a little bit more. And then I fussy cut out some of the poinsettias to match this floral piece. Now, what I want to really talk about is these little toppers here. If you don't have gold or silver paper, you can make your own, and that's what I did with these. I simply took a strip of paper, I dabbed it into my Versamark, then I sprinkled embossing powder on it and heat embossed. What's really cool about doing it this way is if you've heat embossed your greeting and you've heat embossed your little filial for the top, they're exactly the same color. Sometimes gold paper is not exactly the same color as your heat embossing, but by heat embossing your own paper, this is just basic white that I have pressed into the Versamark pad, sprinkled with embossing powder, and then heat embossed, your embossing is going to match. So thank you so much for watching, and look for more cards this week as I explore the Bauble Blooms bundle further.